just to kind of get a better picture of what people should expect.
Yeah.
Is this like a sort of thing where you're kind of learning the story by talking to different people who come into the bar and like
Yeah.
meeting people and uncovering that? And also, will there be like, bar tests? Like, are you like, okay, serve this guy a
Yeah.
beer?
Yeah.
You have time to do that or whatever.
Yeah. So let me maybe if I just backtrack a bit and actually explain it a bit better. The idea I had at the start was that I wanted to make a game because I was in an office job at the time in Tokyo. I was working as a translator at an animation company, and I'd go home after a day's work, and I just wanted to make something just to blow off some steam, do something fun. But I had limited resources, just me, a laptop, game maker. And I was like, okay, what can I make that I want to play that I think other people would enjoy that's fun, but that is going to be feasible? And I chose the setting of a medieval fantasy kind of tavern because then I wouldn't have to make any levels. Because I remembered at that time there was I think Tom Francis who made Gunpoint, and he was talking about how making the content for the game was one of the hardest things. So I thought, all right, one location, and that kind of guided me the whole way through. So imagine you're in this medieval fantasy tavern, but it's not like a micromanagement style game. It's actually quite a few of those popping out. Instead, the idea is to put you, the player, into that space and have you actually have your avatar in that space running around. So you'll grab the tankards, you'll actually like fill them up, you'll bring them to the characters, and you run around, using your WASD keys, that space actually being there in a kind of an RPG way. So that was what I wanted to aim for, and then gradually from there, it kind of fleshed out that you're a bit like the character Thénardier from Les Miserables, where if you've seen the uh, the stage production, but also in the book, he's kind of a thief. He's like your antagonist character, but he gets some great lines, especially in the stage production. So thinking of somebody who's looking out for your guests, you're like their friend. You're telling jokes, you're telling stories, you're winning their confidence over. But flip it around, and you're trying to figure out who's got the most money. Because maybe if they have a bit too much to drink and they've got something valuable on them, you'll sneak into their rooms at night and rob them. So the in-play space has a whole number of rooms you can go into. It's a 2D space, a bit like a doll's house where the walls fade away and you can go into the bedrooms. And then you'll be sneaking up on the sleeping guests and actually having a little mini game where you can like check their boots, their little backpack, kind of and take the necklace off their head. Just get to have that fun of being a bit of a bad guy. You
I
know.
can see this turning really dark. Like,
Yeah, I mean, you do have that. People like, well, can we cook the guests? Can we make them into pies? And I'm like, no way, not that dark. No killing, but maybe you'll steal someone's chicken, or their dog goes missing mysteriously, and they go in the stew. So resource management, a bit of cooking, there will be that on the side as well. You know. But yeah, the RPG side of it is that as you're talking to guests, you're eavesdropping on them. So imagine you have an NPC that you eavesdrop on in your type of like System Shock, or I don't know, Deus Ex or something. You'll have a scripted little discussion that goes on. We've all seen this in games, right? You're sitting in the shadows and you're listening. Maybe a thief. Someone says 5 lines. But in my game, as all of the guests are not systematic, they're custom made with their own animations, their own unique pixel art portraits, their own stories. What happens is that all their dialogue is handmade as well. So they'll have a real discussion. Each table of guests will have a real discussion, maybe 10 minutes, fully written. And most of it you can't listen to because you need to be somewhere else getting some drinks, or you're choosing which of the tables you want to eavesdrop on. So the major overriding theme of the game is depth, like hidden depth, that you can't have that experience in, for example, Ultima 7, which is a real big inspiration for me, a bit like maybe for Damian. Call of Saragnar is inspired by Betrayal of Krondor. For me, Ultima 7 is a big inspiration. But the limitation of those old RPGs is always that once you go into a town, like you go to Britain, it's amazing, it's vibrant, it's alive, it's exciting, and then you exhaust all the dialogue trees and it falls silent. maybe you have that experience in The Witcher 3. Once all of the videos are gone, all those interactions are gone, the city suddenly feels very fake.
Dead.
Yeah, so I wanted to avoid that, where you have day one, day two, day three, day four. As you go through the game, each day, unique characters, and all of the characters, unique dialogue that you can only ever partially listen to. So even if you replay the game, you might listen to different characters, pursue different pathways, and the depth there doesn't lead to lots and lots of branching options. But at the same time, there's still a lot of variability in what the experience would be like for the player.
It's so amazingly unique. Like I don't think has this ever been done before? Can you like point to any
I,
other game that really
I
explores
don't
that?
I don't think so. That's why I kind of feel, yeah, happy to be working on this. I don't think there's anyone who's done anything quite like it on a number of levels. I think there's maybe four or five different aspects I could point to where I played a lot of games and I haven't seen anyone do those. But of course, I mean, we all stand on the shoulders of giants, so it's always about your influences at the same time.